All right, thank you very much for still being here with us. We're still talking about the happening in Burkina Faso and our army. Yes, that was somehow, do I say impounded, but then our aircraft still in Burkina Faso. We're in the studio, of course, with Dr. Getso Yahuza. He's analyzing the whole situation as a security expert. And so before we went on that break, we're talking about what the incident tells us about Nigeria's military flights, protocols, the intelligence processes, and real-time monitoring of air operations. I think we're doing justice to that conversation.
Yeah. Well, like I was examining the process and procedure as well as the protocol. The Nigerian military might have been wrong if at all they have breached the airspace of Burkina Faso without properly informing, without following the due process and the due protocols. Because it is essential to note that it is always important to work on the realities, to work on what it is. And it is always not really a good. Nigeria is a big country, and Nigeria is mighty as far as African countries are concerned. So, and there are already existing regional disputes as a result of exiting of the three Francophone nations, namely Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, as they have declared their exit from ECOWAS. So that is a very fragile diplomatic circumstance, which is the international community, the African states are working hard and trying all their best to ensure that a mitigator has been found, so that there will be a strategy to streamline and ensure unity in diversity and understanding. So in this situation, how comes Nigerian military could make that mistake? It is a diplomatic mistake. It is a security breach. It is a bilateral breach. It has raised so many questions. And even Nigerians, in some circumstances, there were one time far back, whether it is true or not, but we have heard it from the ages when we were young, that one time one of the Nigeria's flights was impounded. But that one was impounded, and when the check was made, it was realized that it was being used for money laundering. I'm not sure, it's not something I cannot ascertain, but I know it's part of what we have had. So now, the question is, where is the military flights going to? For what purpose? Is it really on official services or on personal services? Nigerians need to have this information, and there is need to have this dispute addressed without allowing it escalate into something else. Burkina Faso have a very high respect for Nigeria. Like I said earlier, I have been to Bobo Dioulasso about 7 times, and it is only one time that I went by air. The last time I went, I even went on my own.
Wow.
I drove from Nigeria here, I drove to Bobo Dioulasso.
That's serious.
Unless you have a very strong heart, that is only when you can be able to cross and cross again. Because like I told you, sometimes you are driving, you will see a very big snake, bigger than myself,
Wow.
crossing the road. It will not hurt you. All you need is just to hold on for it to move, to cross the road, then you move. Sometimes you will see lions.
And it doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt.
Really?
Yes. I have been to that route between Ouagadougou and Burkina Faso 6 times. And Bobo Dioulasso, I mean. It's about 16 hours. It's not really a joke. And within that 16 hours, when you are moving out of Ouagadougou, I don't know after November 2023 if at all they have established additional fueling stations. But you have to use You have to get your fuel from Ouagadougou, because fuel will finish as you move. So I drove from here down to Ouagadougou, and I parked my car in Ouagadougou to a friend palace. I have a number of friends from Ouagadougou, from Burkina Faso, especially in Ouagadougou. Then I joined the Trans-Saharan traders to Bobo de la So. It was quite an interesting and impressive, it's good for someone to walk around Africa so that you will see the so many blessings that Almighty God have really blessed Africa with. You will be surprised why are we still having this security crisis and challenges here and there. Going by numerous opportunities from trade, trans-Saharan bilateral trade, communal trade, and so on. There are a lot of opportunities. So I think it is really quite unfortunate and quite, we are still waiting, since we need to have response from the defense and from the federal government. But these are just observations we are making. These are just reviews. We are just looking at it in the context of security, in the context of memorandum of understanding of bilateral relations, in the context of diplomatic aspect, in the context of implication on international politics, in the context of neighborhood relationship, and in the context of breach of trust and confidence, and in the context of concern that 11 of our military personnel, either men and officers, are held somewhere, and it is now viral, is trending on the international spaces of the social media and the traditional media, which is quite unfortunate.
There is an update to the story, and Nigeria Air Force has said that the aircraft was heading to Portugal, but made an emergency landing in Burkina Faso due to technical issues. What can you say of this?
Well, it is quite appreciative if we can have that information from the Nigerian Air Force. But I am quite discouraged.
Okay.
If at all this is how we operate. And a technical issue, something very simple, take us through many hours before responding. I'm quite disappointed. I feel sad, and I feel disheartened, and it is really quite discouraging if at all that's how we operate. Defense headquarters, the Nigerian Nigerian Airspace Management, NCA, civil aviation, and so on, all the necessary tools that we have could have been able to analyze this situation within 30 minutes and respond accordingly. Because this delay will cause so many questions, and nobody will accept the release being made by the defense on this, that it is heading to Portugal, and it is had to, if at all it is landing, it's necessary to land. When it is crossing the Burkinabe airspace, there should be a consent. This is a military aeroplane. It's not an ordinary aeroplane. Even if it is an ordinary aeroplane, it's supposed to have a kind of a communication between one router and another, between one airport communicator and another, between one satellite communicator and another. We shouldn't allow, because we are making them so vulnerable, even the personnel on board. So I think it is really necessary and very, very important Nigeria learn from our mistakes, because for this to happen and for it to take this very longer time, almost 24 hours without having a response to why it happens. And we're supposed to even have the list of the personnel on board.
Yes.
And why they are going to Portugal. We should have all those informations. Because we are Nigerians, and even the Burkinabes wouldn't have been allowed to expose it, because there will have been a confidential communication between the Nigerian diplomatic office in Ouagadougou and the presidency, as well as the airspace management and the Nigerian Air Force, Burkinabe Air Force, as well as the Nigerian Air Force, which could have been made to be managed in a closed door, not something that could have been allowed to go this viral. It is quite sad and unfortunate and it is really discouraging, disheartening. It doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Okay.
I feel really disappointed.
Okay, so we are expecting an update of that information, because somehow I feel like our leaders just come out and say things to us as though we are babies that cannot reason.
Yeah.
Coming out with this kind of excuse without details. It doesn't really
even now as they talk, they're supposed to provide details.
Details, exactly.
The number of officers or men and officers on board. Why are they traveling? For what purpose? How comes they cross the Burkinabe airspace without consent? And if there are any information or any input or any communication, they will have exposed the Burkinabe government that no, you guys look, we have this document and so on and so forth. It shouldn't be something that could be treated confidentially, because if it's something that could have been treated confidentially, even the Burkinabe would have will have respected Nigeria in that regard.
Yes.
Because even at the time when American government was threatening to interfere into the Nigeria's issue related to call for action on the Christian genocide, the security challenges here and there, Burkina Faso was so concerned and responded. Niger was so concerned and responded. Mali was so concerned and they responded. And they responded immediately. Trump made the statement. So I think we will have provided them with the same, we will have accorded them with the same respect, rather than allowing this thing to escalate and to take this very longer, wide space of almost 24 hours without getting a response. It's quite discouraging and disappointing.
Well, it is. Burkina Faso is a part of the new alliance of Sahel states. How might this geopolitical bloc interpret Nigeria's aircraft entering, especially security-wise?
Well, I think they have already done so. Because I read something in the morning before coming here, a response from Niger. I didn't see any response from Mali, so I don't know. But I believe it's a regional integration. Between Mali, Burkina as well as the Nigerian Republic. So these are the Sahelian states. So it's not regional, while Nigeria and other African countries, other West African countries form part of the ECOWAS. So of course, the relationship is going to be very sour, because they are not going to take it lightly. Because if at all Nigerian airspace, Nigerian Air Force will cross and breach the trust, diplomatic and bilateral and neighborhood trust, to have done this, it means the other countries are not safe. And I'm very sure by this it is going to open an opportunity for other international companies who may find related protection equipment to market their equipment to Burkina, Niger and Mali, because they will alert them that if you have this threat, it means Nigeria can attack you anytime, or it can allow its space to be used in attacking you. You need to improve on your ability, because ordinarily Burkina could have had a technological capacity to have a kind of identify the movement of the Nigerian Air Force plane, even without it being forced to land. Because it was not forced to land, it is based on technical reasons why it landed, if at all the information is correct.
Yes.
Because I'm still disputing the information. I quite disagree with the release, because it has no details yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so in your expert's view, does this breach pose long-term diplomatic consequences?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. What internal failures are most likely responsible for incidents like this? Is it poor communication? Is it bad intelligence? Is it weak coordination or lack of protocol?
Well, I think there are 7 reasons.
Okay.
1, abuse of protocol.
Okay.
2, the plane may be used for personal purpose.
Okay.
Not really for official purpose. And 3, it may be a connivance between a criminal, those who are committing atrocities of money laundering, or conniving with unscrupulous element among our personnel within the cycle of Air Force in order to transport cocaine or any of those illicit drugs or even arms. All this can happen. It is only investigation that will reveal this. And then it is a kind of compromise, diplomatic abuse, bilateral and neighborhood breach, and then breach of trust, which will have a very longer implication in terms of diplomatic relation with Nigeria.
Why should Nigeria immediately change or tighten its military procedures to prevent future breaches?
Well, one, those who are found, investigation is only investigation that will guide that.
Yeah.
Investigation, thorough, detailed investigation need to be conducted. Those who are found wanting must be sanctioned according to the law of the nation. Government, Nigerian Air Force and the Defense Headquarters need to improve on how they monitor and control aeroplanes. There is need to have excessive and extraordinary scanning and review on the protocol of use of aeroplane and also crossing of airspace of other nations by Nigeria, either in bilateral context or in multilateral context.
Okay, so how can Nigeria strengthen airspace awareness, including monitoring, communication, and cross-border communication, security-wise? One,
by improvising and mobilizing more extended, technologically advanced communication gadgets.
Okay.
Two, we should improve in our router. Okay. Three, we should improve on our monitors that we use on manning our aero system, and at the same time improve through training and retraining and on-the-job training to serve as a capacity building for those personnel within the airspace management cycle, both in the Air Force and the NCA, as well as the NIMET and other relevant organizations who are responsible for managing the situation and for ensuring that something that is in accordance with the protocol, is in accordance with standard operation procedure at the local level, at the domestic level, as well as looking at the regional context, that is the ECOWAS documents, as well as the African Union document and the UN document, as well as even the provisions of other laws. Probably there is need to make further legislation in order to reorganize our airspace utilization, aerospace utilization, and so on and so forth.
Okay, Dr. Getz, for the ordinary Nigerian watching this right now, does this incident pose any risk to civilians, border communities, or even the wider economy?
Yes, of course it does.
Okay.
It does, because we do have a lot of Nigerians moving between Nigeria, Niger, Mali, Senegal, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, and so on and so forth. This will make Burkinabe borders to be highly strengthened for Nigerians. And then Nigerians will be removed from vehicles for extraordinary questioning when they are entering Burkina Faso. Because Burkinabe will now be considering any other person who is moving around conducting one or three activities. Probably many Nigerians are making a livelihood between through the trans-Saharan trade, using Nigeria, Ilela, Kanchari, Doso, Kanchari, Kutela, Ouagadougou, Bobo Dioulasso, and the rest of it. So this will make it very hard, at least for some time, which I don't know how many people may be trapped. Remember, when our former president, Goodluck Ebele, was trapped in one country when the coup took place. Yeah. What happens? It was a bit difficult. Certain diplomatic exchange has to come before you are able to get those. That is a whole wise former president. What of ordinary people who move around conducting their personal businesses, even known to Nigeria, and so on and so forth.
Okay, so based on your, let's talk about the way forward now. Based on your expertise, what steps should Nigeria take now, diplomatically and military-wise, to de-escalate the situation with Burkina
Now,
Faso?
if there are mistakes, Nigeria needs to quickly apologize diplomatically to Burkinabe. Nigeria and Burkinabe airspace managers need to come down to drawing board to evaluate and assess the situation and provide recommendations for presidential and legislative perspective as well as executive. Then in the case of executive, there is need for the Honorable Minister of Aviation to work with Chief of Air Staff and Air Others Space Controllers to sit down and harmonize and revisit the protocols we are using in utilizing the Nigerian airspace flight and aerospace management, that an improved way can be improvised. And if there were a mistake, the Minister of Aviation as well as the Nigerian airspace, that is Air Vice Marshal and Ike, they should work hard to ensure that those who are found wanting are sanctioned. That could serve as a deterrent for others to learn lessons out of it.
How can Nigeria rebuild confidence and strengthen regional collaborations on joint security efforts?
Well, there are so many things. Okay. Nigeria needs to put its house in order because our own house is not in order in terms of corruption, in terms of total loss of trust and confidence in our procedures, in terms of protocol of doing things, in terms of compromise, in terms of complicity, in terms of impunity, in terms of corruption, in terms of lack of accountability management, and so on and so forth. So there are needs to improve around this and around many other things.
Okay. So the long-term lessons for Nigeria's defense system, considering our role in regional stability, this will be the last question.
Well, the long term is for Nigeria to kind of work assiduously to rebuild the confidence and trust in other countries that it is really ready to take the path of remaining the mother of all African countries, the father of all African countries, and also to change the way and manner of which we do things and come back to the line we left. Because we derailed from a line, that is why we are losing respect. We lost our core values, that is why we are losing respect. We doesn't have ethical values. In fact, our core values have been highly compromised. So Nigeria really need to go back to the drawing board to see how we can take back our lost glories so that we can build on and maintain the status quo of that we have. I believe that we lost as far as the psychological, the diplomatic psychology is concerned. Okay,
sir. We'll have to end the conversation here. It's been insightful.
Thank you.
The issue of insecurity is something that is ongoing as far as our nation is concerned. We hope it comes to an end as soon as possible. But these insights you have shared with us are definitely deep, and it's something that every of our viewers that has watched me right now will be able to run with one or two, because security is our part. It's not something we should leave to the government. Sure. We all have our own parts to play. Yes, sir.
It's everybody's business.
Yes, it's our business.
And all hands must be on deck.
Exactly. Thank you, sir, for coming on Discourse.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great pleasure.
Always a pleasure having you.
Thank you, viewers.
And to our viewers, as Africa becomes more interconnected and more unstable in certain regions, one mistake can trigger wider consequences. So Nigeria, therefore, should strengthen its intelligence, should improve cross-border cooperation, and ensure that its military operations are not only effective, but accountable and safe. Thank you so much for joining us on Discourse. I am Priscilla Obasi. See you next time.